Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at our major winter storm bringing blizzard-like conditions and heavy snowfall to the north central United States. Also, a major cold snap across much of the eastern two-thirds of the United States through the holiday weekend, and your long-range weather forecast going through the first full week of January in this video. If you guys are new to the channel and have not yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Again, I cover Canada, the United States, the tropics, and everything in between. So everybody hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell. It's free to do, and you get all of my exclusive daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Looking across the United States with the alerts here this morning, a lot of colors on the map here. We got winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings across the north central Rockies as we're gearing up for some heavy mountain snow across these areas here through the day today. Farther downstream to the east, we got a lot of colors here. The light blue, we got winter storm watches. The pinks from western Wisconsin through the Twin Cities, down through Iowa, and also eastern Nebraska. Those are winter storm warnings. Also blizzard warnings being hoisted across south central Minnesota, where we're gearing up for a full-blown blizzard across those areas going through the next couple of days. And all of this here is in control by a trough that is digging into the north central Rockies here this morning and then into this afternoon. This will be diving down into the portions of the Central Plains. And by the time we get into the day on Thursday, this will start strengthening here in a big way across the central and southern plains as a low pressure system will phase with the northern polar jet stream and actually strengthen off portions of the Central Plains going into the Great Lakes as we head into the day on Friday. That low pressure system will maximize across these areas, bringing some heavy snow, blizzard-like conditions, and again, very cold temperatures on the system's backside going into this holiday weekend. Looking at the mid-level jet, the 500 millibar layer rounding the base of this trough, this negatively tilted trough, a powerful jet stream here, a signal for a very strong winter storm. We have 110 to 120 knots mid-level jet rounding the base of this trough, and again, it's going to pull down all that cold air in place for a major winter storm with blizzard conditions here this upcoming weekend. So looking at that Clipper system first this afternoon, that'll be diving down across Wyoming, the Dakotas, getting over toward the Twin Cities, and even into western Wisconsin here with some lighter snow later on today. Again, more minor snow accumulations across these areas going through the day today. But as we go through the morning hours on Thursday, we're going to see that low pressure system start to originate across the panhandle of Texas and North Texas, and it's going to move up that Arctic front across portions of the central United States in toward the Great Lakes, bringing that very strong gradient of very cold temperatures behind it and those warmer temperatures ahead of it. And in between, we'll have the heavy snow breaking out from Wisconsin down through Iowa, western Illinois, Missouri, all the way down here towards central Oklahoma as well. And then going through the day on Thursday into Thursday night, a rapid deepening of the low pressure system to a 1001 millibar low over central Indiana. On the backside, we got that Arctic front, tight isobars as well, bringing in those blizzard conditions with the falling snow as well. That could extend farther down into western Kentucky and western Tennessee as well toward the Memphis area. And then going through the day on Friday here, full-blown blizzard criteria across portions of the Great Lakes through Michigan, through eastern Wisconsin, the upper peninsula of Michigan, down through Indiana and Ohio. We're going to have those tight isobars in conjunction with some very heavy snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour and a rapid deepening of the low pressure system to a 975 millibar low over central Michigan does spell a very strong winter storm as we get through the day on Friday. And again, looking at those winds out of the west-northwest and the northwest across these areas, sustained between 20 and 30 miles per hour. We could have gusts over 50 miles per hour across much of Iowa, getting in through Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan during this period. Those winds will be ripping and roaring across the Lake Superior and Lake Michigan areas as well, with even higher gusts, potentially over 60 miles per hour over the open waters of the lakes. And again, going in through the day on Saturday, that low pressure system will begin to move to the north and east, 965 millibar low, somewhere up up there toward the Montreal area, and we're definitely going to be still seeing those tight isobars and those heavier snowfall rates here on up to the north, again across portions of Ontario, Quebec, and the upper Great Lakes region as we head through the day on Saturday here, Christmas Eve. And again, looking on Saturday, Christmas Eve, we got those very strong winds over those Great Lakes here across all of the lakes out of the west-northwest, 20 to 30, even 40 mile per hour sustained winds, especially as you get over here closer to that low pressure system toward Lake Erie as well. We're going to be talking about higher wind gusts over 50 and 60 miles per hour for those areas going through the Saturday time frame. So looking at those significant snowfall accumulations across these areas, first across the Midwest and the Western Great Lakes, we could be talking about some 6 to 8 inch totals across portions of Wisconsin, back through southern Minnesota, northeastern Iowa, getting back down there towards Des Moines, Iowa, averaging around 6 inches. Northern Illinois, anywhere from about 3 to 7 inches can be expected down in those areas, places like Rockford, Illinois, Peoria, Illinois, and then getting closer to the Chicago area and Milwaukee and Green Bay, we could be talking about maybe a foot of snow for these areas. And then as we get into the western side of Michigan there, we could be talking about 12 to 18 inches to locally up to 2 feet of snowfall across those areas, going from Gary, Indiana, all the way up there toward the UP of Michigan and even into portions there of Ontario. We could be averaging around 12 to 18 inches of snow going through this upcoming weekend. Farther off to the east, across Ohio, Pennsylvania, getting down the spine of the Appalachians, we could be averaging anywhere from 3 to 6 inches across Pittsburgh, getting down through the Charleston, West Virginia area, Columbus, Ohio, and then getting into upstate New York, a couple of these areas around the Buffalo area and Watertown. With the lake effect snow machine going with this system, we could have over 12 inches in those areas, and then up to around 10 to 12 inches up into portions of southern Ontario and southern Quebec, from portions of Toronto up through the Montreal area going through this upcoming weekend. If you guys are still with me here on this video, remember to hit the like button down below. It helps get all of this weather information out to more and more people here, so I definitely appreciate you guys. So thank you guys so much. Hit that like button down below, and I definitely appreciate it. So going through the day today, again, the other story is going to be some very cold temperatures and wind chills here. We're going to have that polar vortex dropping southward across southern Canada, and we're going to see a very strong spill of Arctic air, especially as we head into the day on Thursday with that Arctic front here arriving across the central Texas and central Arkansas and much of the Missouri Valley. Those are where we're going to see those below zero wind chills and even some below zero temperatures going into the day on Thursday. And then Friday, we finally see that Arctic spill all the way south to the Gulf of Mexico, southern Florida, and even northern Mexico as well on Friday, December 23rd. So let's look at the temperatures this afternoon. These are your high temperatures, guys. We got below zero highs all across southern Canada here, from British Columbia to Quebec. We also have some below zero high temperatures from Montana through northeastern Wyoming, the Dakotas, getting into Minnesota and western Wisconsin. Some relatively mild there farther to the south because that Arctic front hasn't yet made it farther south yet. We'll be averaging temperatures in the 40s and 50s from Texas, Oklahoma, through the Tennessee and Ohio River valleys. But looking at the wind chills up to the north on Wednesday today, we're going to be averaging around 25 to 35 degrees below zero across all the southern Canada and all across the northern United States. Going into the day on Thursday, that Arctic front will make headway a little bit farther to the south towards the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Little Rock, and portions there of the St. Louis area. And we're going to be talking about below freezing temperatures all the way down into central Texas and Little Rock, below zero high temperatures getting across all of the northern plains, the upper Midwest, and all of southern Canada. And when you factor in the wind chill, yeah, much more of these areas across portions of Texas, Oklahoma on up to the north will be anywhere from 10 to 20, even 30 degrees below zero or colder as we get into that Thursday time frame. And then going into Friday, December 23rd, again, that Arctic front will arrive across the Gulf Coast and North Florida and even southern Texas with that freezing line all the way down toward the New Orleans region. Panama City, getting down towards Houston, Texas, you can expect highs around 32 degrees. Farther up to the north, we'll have below zero high temperatures all across the Dakotas, Minnesota, Iowa, northern Illinois, western Wisconsin, and back towards southern Canada there with those below zero high temperatures. And then again, factoring in the winds with that wind chill, we're going to be seeing below zero wind chills here with negative 20 to negative 40 degree wind chills all across the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, back through portions portions of Minnesota there, the upper Midwest, the Dakotas, and all across southern Canada here feeling that chill as well. Even those wind chills farther south towards Brownsville, Texas, Corpus Christi, Houston, we'll be seeing those wind chills down into the mid-20s there. Places like New Orleans, we could see teens for wind chills down in those areas on Friday. But looking ahead to Christmas Day, I know it's very important for you guys to know those temperatures across the eastern two-thirds of the United States will be much colder than normal. We got warmer temperatures here, relatively speaking, across the west coast with that ridge of high pressure across the west coast of the United States. And again, we're going to be talking about cold, high temperatures here. One of the colder Christmases here in recent memory across the Great Lakes, the upper Midwest, and the Northeast, and all the southern Canada here on Christmas Day. We'll be having highs on either side of zero here, above or below, as we head through the day on Sunday. Farther to the south, we'll modify some of the temperatures into Texas on Sunday with those 40s returning across much of Texas, western Oklahoma, and western Kansas, and then on off to the west across parts of the Rockies here on Sunday. But looking at your longer range weather forecast going through the end of the month here of December, we're going to be talking about that warmth expanding a little bit farther to the east across the Great Plains and eventually the upper Midwest, closing out the year of 2022 with those slightly above normal temperatures across much of the Central Plains, portions of the Rockies, and the West Coast. We'll start to say goodbye to some of the colder air across the southeast and the east coast as we get to the end here of this month. And then going into the first few days of January, at least through January 3rd, we're going to see much of the lower 48 above normal, at least slightly above normal at that, as we get through the first couple of days in January. And we're also going to see a pretty active period of weather as well, going across much of the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast here. We're going to be talking about well above average precipitation here from Washington, Oregon State, down through California and Nevada, and even Idaho as well, with those above normal snowfall here and also above normal rainfall across those areas. We'll see some quieter times across Maine, getting down through portions of New England and into the mid-Atlantic, and then a little period of some drier weather there from Texas into Oklahoma and southern Kansas to close out the month here of December. Looking here in the first few days in January, probably the first week in January, it looks like much of the lower 48 will be dealing with some type of above normal precipitation, really centered across portions of the Pacific Northwest with that atmospheric river here with all the rainfall and higher elevation snows across those areas. And it's possible we could have some snowstorms trying to sneak in here across the upper Midwest and the eastern two-thirds of the United States going into that first few days in January. So let's kind of break this down for you here with the long range forecast. You got that atmospheric river here moving into the west coast with that very powerful jet just south of the Aleutian Islands, moving across the northeastern Pacific Ocean. That's going to be bringing in all that Pacific moisture in across the west coast from Washington all the way southward to California and even the Baja of California as well. And then as we get into that time frame here, you can see a lot of bright colors here from Washington State through Idaho, through Oregon, portions of California and Nevada. That is those above normal precipitation values, whether it's heavy rainfall, heavy mountain snow. We're going to be seeing that as we get toward the very end of this month and probably even beyond, going into the first full week in January. And then looking here a little longer range, farther out across all the North America, we're going to be seeing a blocking pattern here ensue across portions of Greenland and southeastern Canada during the very last day or so of the month of December, New Year's Eve going into New Year's Day. And underneath that, we're going to have another trough trying to dig in somewhere across the southern plains, and that may lead to another low pressure system here originating somewhere across the southern plains and moving up across the Great Lakes here as we get towards the end of this month. And here, with all the cold air still in place across the fresh snowpack, across the Dakotas, Minnesota, and all the southern Canada here, I would think that we'll have some snowfall across the northwest side of wherever this low pressure system would go. And again, some rainfall across the southeast with some thunderstorms at this time as we get into New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And you can see that here on the EPS model. This is the European ensemble here. Some type of a storm system will originate somewhere across the southern plains and move up toward the Great Great Lakes and into southeastern Canada, almost a similar track to what we're seeing now potentially, and that'll bring more rainfall across the southeast, probably a mix of rain and snow here in the middle, somewhere across the Ohio Valley or the Missouri Valley, and then some heavier snows can be found somewhere across the upper Midwest or the western Great Lakes, and then extending back potentially towards Kansas potentially as we get towards that Saturday, December 31st, and also that Sunday, January 1st timeframe to open up the year of 2023. And again, looking at those temperatures here, we'll modify the air as we get towards late this month. And again, the northwest side of the system will be important for potentially some heavy snows with those 20s and 30s up here in the Midwest. And then in between, we have more of that mix of rain and snow with those marginal temperatures in the mid 30s or low 40s there across portions of the Missouri Valley and the Ohio Valley. And then probably all rain here across the southeast, as we'll be averaging the mid 50s to mid 60s across these areas, getting toward the very end of this month. So thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely appreciate it. If you guys liked the video, press the like button down below. It's that thumbs up button. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Most importantly, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you guys are new. Hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel, including the live stream later on today. We're going to be speaking about the major winter storm coming up, the major cold snap, and looking ahead to the rest of winter. Don't want to miss that, guys, so hit the notification bell to get my live stream later on this afternoon or this evening on this channel. Have a great Wednesday, everyone, and I will see you all in the next video.